I think we can all agree one of the most weird images of the episode was indeed the one where it looked like where you get the planters look like legit frogs, and it's like very disturbing. And that's exactly why I made it my thumbnail. How is everyone doing today, guys? My name's T Coates, and I completely forgot to mention the fact that when Dr. Jan was expecting the relic from the last video, that she found a secret message because she used black light, so that's on me. But luckily for us, we didn't have to wait too long to figure out what the message meant. But at the same time, I didn't write the whole message down. But basically, it's like, sounds like they gotta find some lady that will lead them to their destiny. So it's like, okay, where are we gonna go with that? But that comes at the very end of the episode. So what happens before that? Well, with Anne and the Plantars, waiting for Dr. Jan to reply, they eventually do get the reply. And Dr. Jan's like, meet me here at the museum so we can go over. And it's like, Anne and the Plantars like, yes, let's do it. But they can't, because they have to be going to a Thai temple for the market, which is, I love that. And it's like the second I heard that, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, because obviously you had the marketplace within Amphibia, so we got to see what that version was like. So not only do we get to see a marketplace on Earth with Thai, but you also get to see the player's reaction to it. You get to see what they think of it. It's like, even for people who've never even been to a Thai marketplace, this is a pretty cool idea, because you get to see what it's like, what it's about, because it's more than just a marketplace, as they mentioned. It's everything Thai, because they're at a Thai temple. So it's like a lot of cool things about it, and it's like, so easily going into this episode, you have a lot of people who are excited. It got me excited to see what we're gonna have, the opportunity, and they don't hold back. They definitely go in on this episode with this temple, and it's like, I mean, the temple itself it's not. I'll say this: I kind of thought it would be bigger than what we got, but at the same time, it did feel big. That's the thing; it felt big. It didn't look big. But at the same time, it's like, usually that's what it is. It's like, it doesn't look big, but you can feel how big this place is, and it's so cool. And I gotta have my notebook here, because there's a few notes here where I'm like, I gotta make sure I have these on hand, literally. So yeah, Anne, of course, is the only one who is very disappointed about the fact that she has to go to the temple. But of course, it's like, well, you've been gone for 5 months, so of course people are gonna be talking about that. And of course, there's this one little gag of like, there's some students hiding in the bushes with cameras, and they're apparently, according to Anne, the gossip kids. So it's like, they're trying to figure out like what she's been doing, what happened, why did she go away, all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, but yeah, so very intriguing, very understanding, I guess. So Anne is able to work out an agreement with her mother, being like, okay, I will be at the temple for 1 hour, and then I could go talk to my friend about this super cool, because that was the thing. She told her mom that this was important. It's the museum thing. It's with this relic, so it's like, it's a clue to help the Plantars get back home. So it's like, but at the same time, Mrs. Boonjar's like, yeah, I understand, but at the same time, you've been gone for 5 months, and people want their answers, so you gotta at least go and support them. And it's like, at first, Anne's like, oh, why? But as we find out later in the episode, we freaking know why. But yeah, but like I said, one of the things I was super excited about was just seeing what the Plantars would do at this temple, and it's awesome. With Polly kind of catching me off guard the most. It's like, that being, Polly is like, so she goes into the temple and she finds a classroom with a bunch of little kids, and they're learning to speak Thai, and so Polly walks in, and she's just a master linguist of it. It's like, she walks in and she's literally speaking fluent Thai to the class. She's just going on and on. And I love this one bit with the teacher. You know, she's like, "Oh, have you been taught Thai?" And Polly just in Thai is like, "No, but I've seen the entirety of Mrs. Boonchoi's romantic drama series." And it's like, okay, that's hilarious, but it's also amazing. And I think, actually, you know what? I think they did show that in the last episode, so that's a good tie-in. That's a good tie-in. Because I'm trying to think, because they were watching a show. You know what? Yeah, actually, yeah. I think that's a really good tie-in. Dang. It sometimes surprises me when the show catches me off guard like that. It's like, wait, was what happening in the last episode a thing that connected in this episode that helped? Dang. So Polly is a linguist of the Plantars, so she gets really involved with learning the language and just interacting with the other kids in this temple. So it's really cool to see that. But then Hop Pop, I love Hop Pop's one because he finds this room where they're performing silent theater. And so obviously with silent theater, you need to express yourself through movement. You gotta, and so Hop Pop, of course, is like, express yourself through movement. And of course we know the dancing episode all the way back in season 1. That was a hop, lock until you drop, I think, or hop, pop until you drop, or I forget what, it was the dancing episode, where he had to impress Sylvia, and he did that because he fully expressed himself through dance, even though that one was very terrifying. This one, he seems to have gotten it down a little bit as he's able. At first, it seemed like he's gonna get a reaction of being like, okay, that's a little bit creepy. But no, they love it. They love the way he expressed himself, so he becomes a part of the silent theater group. And it's like, it's so cool. He gets to wear this, mask or a cowl. I don't know. I mean, it went over his head, so, but it was a mask, pretty much, so. I don't know. But yeah, he really becomes part of the silent theater, and just the way he works with the other performers. It's such a cool way. And then Sprig, he becomes, because he's super hyper, he knows how to work with the bug ball now. He becomes this ultimate athlete for this group who are doing kick volleyball, or as they Thai culture, they call it, I hope I don't botch this name, Sepak Takraw, I think that's what it's called, or Sepak Takraw, or it's something like that, Sepak Takraw. I mean, kick volleyball, that's basically what it is. And so for kick volleyball, it's basically it's volleyball, but instead of using your hands to hit the ball down, you are only allowed it's basically like soccer or football rules. It's like, you can't use your hands, you got to use every other part of the body to get the ball over the net and spike it down on the other team's side. It's like, that's what it is. And it's so cool to watch because Sprig, obviously, being able to jump super high, is really good with his body, with his footwork, and is obviously using his head. So he becomes this great, solid athlete, and it's like, everyone is pretty much having a good time except for Anne, who is just there handing out samples, but everyone is coming by and it's like, "Oh, Anne, we're so happy you're back. What happened? You've been gone for 5 months." And Anne just sums it all up by like, "Oh, my parents accidentally forgot that I was going to tennis camp for 5 months." And it's like, these are weird cover-ups, It's weird cover-ups, and it's the one thing that bothers me, is that the way they kind of glossed over the fact that Anne, Marcy, and Sasha have been away for 5 months. Because Matt Rowley talked about it, how it's like each of the parents reacted differently. So I'm wondering with Marcy's parents and Sasha's parents, how they reacted to the fact that their daughters have been gone for 5 months. Right now, we don't know. So, but yeah, so Anne, during all this, is getting super impatient, and I love the fact that she looks down at her phone and is like, "Okay, it has to have been an hour. It's only been 10 minutes. So she basically cracks under pressure. She's like, "You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna round up the family, call Dr. Jan, and go to the museum. I do like this though. I like that she doesn't just storm into each room, drag them out. She looks in, sees Polly, she's just talking with the students in full on tie, and she's just owning the room. And so Anne's like, cool, whoa, dang, she's just amazing at this. I couldn't even form perfect sentences at that age. So she leaves Polly in the room. She sees Pop enjoying silent theater, so she leaves Hop up there. She sees Sprink enjoying kick volleyball, and she just leaves him there. It's like, I like that she doesn't just go and drag him. And it's like, hey, wait, we were enjoying the fun. But it's like, don't you remember? We haven't objected. So for her, it's like, you know what? They deserve it. They deserve to be having fun. They deserve to enjoy this community. So I'm going to go and do this thing on my own. That is until she runs into her mom. So she runs into her mom, and she confesses to her mom, of course, that she's going to see Dr. Jan because she's very impatient. She wants to get the Plantars home and learn this piece of information. But Mrs. Boonchoy reminds her that it's like, okay, hang on. It's more than just being here once again at the temple. It's not like this annual thing anymore. It's like, you've been gone for 5 months. It's like, all these people, they came to us. They came to us with gifts. They tried to help us find you. It's like, all of this because they care about you. And Anne's like, whoa, I didn't even think about that. It's like, yeah, it's like, because she's been so focused on getting the Plantars home, she hasn't stopped to realize her parents may not be the only ones who have actually been worried about her, because she has this entire community that she has known, that she's grown up with, that would care about her if she did disappear. And so that's exactly what happened. She disappeared. And so the entire community, they pitched in to help the Boonchoys, whether it was looking for her, just helping them cope with the loss. It was like, all of that is something that Anne needed to realize, and she did, because Mrs. Boonchoy told her about it. And I love Mrs. Boonchoy. It's like, they gave us all of this, but we didn't, because but it's like, what we owe, it's like, they owe us nothing. They owe us nothing. And we owe them so much for what they've done. It's like, because, yeah, that's how it is. So Anne, of course, gets that realization. It's like, didn't really think about that. But of course, the whole thing is interrupted because, once again, the robot attacks, except this time, instead of attacking by itself, it sends in an army of killer dragonfly drones. Didn't realize I could do that, but interesting. Because I figured, because it was seen, so I figured, like, well, since I'm seen, send in the army of drones to try and kill everybody. So the drones attack the temple, and Anne covers it up in a very weird way, saying like, oh no, this is that gossip group that was following me earlier. They must be sending in the drones to get some pictures or something. And it's like, and she's gonna tell him. She has to tell him at this point, because it's like, that was a pretty freaking weak lie. It was a freaking weak lie, and I feel like Mrs. Boonchoy even isn't gonna buy that. I mean, I feel like she is gonna make it look like she bought that, but then she's gonna be like, oh, no. But yeah, so the drones attack, and the Plantars, they hear the attack, and so they go out and they help. And I found this very interesting, is during the attack, they lose their disguises, and eventually, they destroy all the robots, and all of a sudden you get the fact that, like, oh, they're wearing disguises, and then you get that close up of the realistic version of the Plantars, and I can't imagine the crew's thoughts on it being like, so I wonder what their bets were. Like, okay, what do you think the audience reaction is going to be? That it's like, I think some people are going to be freaking out. I think some people are going to laugh at it. I think some people are going to be like, what the heck is that? For me, I was caught off guard. I'm like, oh, whoa, they actually did that. That was my reaction, but yeah, it was funny, and I'm glad they did it, because it's like, well, yeah, what do the Plantars look like if they actually were frogs? But yeah, so this also caught me off guard. The community actually covered for them. You know, they said, like, okay, your frogs, cool, we're good with that. It's like, really? Really? You guys are good with that? I mean, this isn't Gravity Falls, where it's like, this looks normal. This would look normal at Gravity Falls, but it's like, this is LA. We're in LA. Like, I feel like, I don't know. That part felt a little out of place for me. At the same time, though, it's like, this is a kid show. It's a kid show. It's animated, so it's like, you can kind of stretch the rules of reality a bit. I mean, heck, in Thai Feud, you had an entire food truck get flipped over by a turtle shell, so it's like, you can do what you want, I guess. But I do like that idea that the family is safe for now, but obviously from the trailer, you're still gonna have the government show up, so it's like, at some point, they're gonna get discovered for real, or maybe, with Andreas especially coming, it's like, sooner or later, the whole world is gonna know that there's a whole other world of frog people, so it's like, it's gonna get intriguing. But the episode doesn't end with the Thai community, coming together. It's with Anne and the Plantars going to Dr. Jan, and Dr. Jan revealing him the message, which, as I said before, was along the lines of, like, find this lady who will lead you to your destiny. Again, didn't get to write out the whole thing, so I'm gonna go back and rewatch the scene to see what it means. So hopefully we'll figure. I don't know if it was a line that has already been, like, or the clues have already been, like, we've seen all the clues already, or if it's like it really is like a mystery of, like, who this lady is. My guess is it's going to be another member of, like, that order that the witch from the second temple was a part of. Maybe there's a person on Earth who is a part of that order, and they're the ones that they have to go to the find to get back home. I hope that is. That'd be a cool idea. But if it isn't, then I'm just some guy who made a dumb theory. So, all right. That's. Oh yeah, how did they decipher the message? Because Anne has Marcy's journal. Let that sink in for a second. Anne has Marcy's journal. So she literally has a piece of her friend with her, Okay, let's wrap up the episode here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you want to subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Man, this was a weird one.